All right. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to be learning chapter 5. Before I start chapter 5, I want to just make an introduction. So first, I want to dedicate this class to my father, Rav Michal ben Reb Avram, whose birthday was on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, but we weren't here. I think it was last Monday. I didn't give a class last week, right?
No, you did.
Did I give a class last week? I don't think I gave
non,
it.
tu avais les enfants.
It was hi Mazal.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to dedicate this class to my father, Rav Michal ben Avram, whose birthday was the 1st of Sivan, Aleph Sivan, and which is interesting because one of my siblings pointed it out. It's interesting that he's born on the month of the receiving of the Torah, and his whole life was dedicated to the Torah. Like, we remember him, like me, as my memories of him was he would take us out all the time to parks. But what he would do, he would take us out, and then he would take his book with him, and he would sit and learn. So he was really dedicated, and he gave classes he was an educator for children, gave classes to adults at night. Like, he did a lot on Sunday. Like, he was always teaching. I give once a week a class.
You what?
No, she said like me, but I'm like, I give once a week a class. I try, but I'm not to compare. So it's trying to think, what should I share for the introduction about what's happening. There's no holidays. That's it. Shavuot is the last holiday before before Tishrei. I mean, there's gonna be the Tisha B'Av, but I don't call that a holiday.
No, it's not.
But so what did I share? There's a book called Hayom Yom. Mm-hmm. Hayom Yom was a book compiled, not written, but compiled by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Before he became Rebbe, his father-in-law was the Rebbe, the Chabad Rebbe, and he told him, I want you to compile this book, a daily study on every single day, something that's related to that day. So I opened the Hayom Yom, and what did it say? I thought it was interesting. It said that it says about the importance of purifying the atmosphere. How do you purify the atmosphere? Is when one learns Torah. When one learns Torah, the Torah words purify the atmosphere. And it says that the Mishnah, the Mishnayos, which is the book before the Gemara, okay? A lot of kids are told to memorize those by heart. Like, it's a thing we do in schools. I think just based on this Hayom Yom, because when you use the words of the Mishnah has the same words like Neshama. It says we don't know the tremendous benefit that it brings to a person, individual, and its surrounding. Like, we don't even realize how tremendous the benefit of learning the Torah and saying Mishnayos Baal Peh and saying the words of Torah. And just something that I want to share before we move to Brassard. And I'm not, it's not about me. It's really about learning of the Torah is everybody who comes and learn. Before we moved to Brassard, there was no learning of any Torah or any prayers or nothing, right? In Brossard.
Oui, il y avait la citière.
Ils étudient pas la Torah. No, there's no Torah learning. And I feel like we're here 14, my son's almost 15. I really feel from when I moved to here, you see a difference in Brassard. I don't know what it is, but I would not be surprised if the learning of the Torah brought, just one of the things that for me, I was thinking about that yesterday. And Mazal, I remember you telling me, be careful when you drive on the Champlain Bridge. When we moved to Brassard, the Champlain Bridge, the old one, was in such a bad condition. You remember, Mazal? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe you drive to Montreal. I do. I think you stopped driving your kids to Montreal because you were so scared. They were going to school in Montreal?
No, I stopped for another reason.
Oh,
but yeah.
But I remember you telling me, like, it was a big deal. Like, people were scared to drive. And the same year, it was the old bridge was in a really bad condition, and they didn't see any future because they're like, we don't have money to build a new. I remember, and I'm like, What am I going to do? I have to drive on this bridge. What if something happens? Like, I would think of that daily.
Right.
And the next thing we know, the same year that we opened the Chabad house
What?
was the same year the new bridge
decided to-
started. That suddenly they found money. And I'm not saying it's related,
Okay.
but this is, for me, I'm like, everything is a coincidence. And, you know, we don't see the benefit. But for you coming every Monday and learning Torah,
Yeah.
it brings a lot of good to you, to your family, to your surroundings. And if you don't see it, try it. Try to look around and see the benefits that it brings. So this is what I wanted to introduce the class with. Now, we're going to look inside. For Marie, you have the page. It's page 206, chapter 5, 206. So in the previous chapters, we spoke about different ways to have bitachon in different aspects of our life. And in our personal, in the way we deal with people, in our business, in our health, in our social, and maybe I said this already, social life, in the way we see, in the way we do Torah and mitzvot, right? Every aspect he brought, how we should have bitachon. What this chapter talks about, I think, is interesting. It talks about how bitachon will affect us on a daily basis. So now we know how we should have it, but now what's the difference between someone who lives with bitachon and the difference between someone who doesn't live with bitachon? Okay? So this I thought was interesting. So in one way, we know different ways of having bitachon and how we should have bitachon. But now, how will it affect us? If you want to measure, in my situation, am I really having bitachon? You'll know by the way you live your life. How do you live your life? Are you living your life thankful, full of gratitude? Are you living your life happy? Are you living your life anxious and sad and depressed? You will be able to measure, are you really applying bitachon in your life or not? Okay, so we're going to read inside. אבל ההפרש שבין הבוטח על האלוקים וזולתו בעניין התעסקו בסיבות הטרף, אומר כי הבוטח באלוקים ייבדל מזולת הבוטח עליו בשבעה עניינים. We will now discuss the difference between those who rely on God and those who don't, with regards to their involvement in the pursuit of means for their livelihood. I will say that the person who relies on God for his livelihood and other needs, okay, so it's not only your livelihood, it's any needs you have, will differ in 7 ways from those who do not have trust in him. Okay? So he's going to bring 7 differences of someone who lives with bitachon and someone who does not, and how it will affect him on a daily basis. Okay, so this is the consequences of living with bitachon or living without bitachon, okay? And what I think is interesting is that he always brings 7 ways. Do you notice? It's always 7 ways. And 7 is a big number in Judaism. What are 7? What is 7?
Days.
7 days of the week, exactly. 7 days of the week.
Perfection.
What?
Completeness and perfection.
7, completeness and perfection. Is that what 7 is?
Dans la Torah,
Is it 7 days to circumcision?
No, it's 8 days of
Oh, 8 days, okay.
circumcision. But 7 days, 7 is nature. Okay, that's 8 is above nature. 7 is nature. So these are 7 natural ways that will affect us. There's also the 7 midot, right? Our 7. No, so there's 10 sfirot, but there's 7 midot. The sfirot are divided by 3 intellectual and the 7 emotions.
Okay.
So it could be related to the 7 emotions, right? Because bitachon affects our emotions.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is all from mine. Again, this is not from a source. This is all my personal thing. Why he brings 7 all the time. He was obviously a tzaddik and knew a lot of Torah and all the secrets and all the chassidut and everything. So it's not a coincidence that he brings 7 all the time. Okay?
What?
So, first thing. אחד מהם, the first difference, כי הבוטח באלוקים רוצה בדינו בכל ענייניו ומודה לו על הטובה ועל הרע. The first difference is the person who relies on God willingly accepts his judgment in all matters and thanks him for both the good and the bad. Okay? So he thanks him for both the good and the bad. The Mishnah states, a person is obligated to bless God for the bad in the same manner that he blesses him for the good. We find no difference between the bad that comes from God directly and the bad that comes through the medium of another person who has freedom of choice regarding his action, okay? So even if it's through a person, you can be angry at the person and you can fight the person and you can curse the person. If you have bitachon, you should be able to know that everything negative or everything good that comes your way, whether through a person, whether through nature, whatever it is, it all comes from Hashem. And this is proper bitachon, is that the person relies on God completely. And he knows and he's thankful and he's always grateful for both the good and the bad in his life. Of course, these are levels that are very hard to attain. But this is the end goal. He's telling us a person who has full bitachon, this is how he's going to live his life. And this can help us try to get a glimpse on what a life of bitachon is and try to help us when we're in a situation when we got hurt, really badly hurt by somebody else. Instead of being angry and putting our anger towards that person or trying to hurt that person or trying to get back to that person, we go into ourselves and we say, okay, this came from Hashem. This is good. Where is the good? How can I find the good? How can I strengthen my bitachon? Of course, this is a very hard work, but again, this is what a person with bitachon lives with. Kemo Amar, and he brings verses from the Torah to prove his point. Hashem natan v'Hashem lakach, yehi shem Hashem mevorach. So this is from Eov. Eov was a man who had everything, riches and family and health and a wife and everything, and he lost everything. His wife and children died. He became poor and he became sick, and still, what did he say? He said, the Lord gave and the Lord took. May the name of the Lord be blessed. He still blessed God. He said, he's the one who gave me and he's the one who took, and I still bless him for that. And then he brings another pasuk from the Tehillim. I shall sing of kindness and judgment. Okay? So again, how someone still sings, whether it's kindness or whether it's judgment. Judgment is negative, kindness is positive. You're still being thankful to Hashem for both. And our rabbis of blessed memory said, in explaining the verse, so this is in Brachot, if it is kindness, then I will sing the praises of God, and if it is judgment, then I will also sing his praises. And they also said, a person is obligated to bless God for the bad in the same manner that he blesses him for the good. Okay, this is a very powerful pasuk. I'm going to read it in Hebrew. Chayav Adam levarech al hara kishem shehu mevarech al hatova. A person must bless God for the bad, just like he blesses him for the good. This is very, very difficult. There's a story of a rabbi who once a year he would hire people to cut wood and from the forest. And of course, wood is worth a lot. So all the logs, they instead of carrying it on a donkey, whatever it is, on a cart, he would put it down the river, and it would go down the river, and then he would collect it at the bottom of the river, or he would hire people, and then he would sell it, and he made enough money to support him for his whole year. And that's what he would do once a year. The rest of the year, he would give Torah classes. He had students, and his students would help him with this. This river, sometimes 20 years or 30 years, like it didn't happen regularly, it would flood. And one year they cut the log, the students went to help, and they put down the logs down the river, and the river flooded, and he lost all his logs. And the students didn't know what to do. They were like, we need to tell our teacher this. Who wants to say? No one wanted to tell him the bad news. So they made a vote, and one student was chosen to go, and he goes to his teacher and he says, there's a Mishnah that says, Chayav Adam levarech al hara kishem shehu mevarech al hatova. A person needs to bless God on the bad just like he blesses him on the good. He says, I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? So the rabbi explained it to him. And he says, I still don't understand. Can you explain it to me? And he made him repeat it after a couple of times. And after a couple of times, he says, look, I still don't understand. But if you understand this, you should be dancing now. He says, why? He says, because you lost all your logs. And when he heard that, the rabbi fainted. And they came, they revived him. And when he woke up, he says, you know what? I don't think I understand this Mishnah either. So it's obviously a level that's very, very hard to be able.
And that student was very, very bright.
He was very smart. Yes, that's why I'm sharing this story. I thought it was very smart. And it's a level that's very hard, but Rabbeinu Bachai is trying to tell us, he's saying the work of the heart. It's a work. It's a lifelong work. Okay? There can be people who are super religious. Look, he was a rabbi teaching this and still doesn't have that level of bitachon. It's a level that's very hard to reach. But just know,
Until you leave it yourself.
just know that if you want to live it, this is what it's going to bring you. It's going to bring you that you're going to be able to bless God even in the bad times. Just like you're happy, you're grateful when you have good things, you'll be grateful also when you have bad things.
You accept it.
Exactly. And then he says, but I like how he brings a contrast. ואשר איננו בוטח באלוקים מסלל על הטובה כמו שנאמר, כי הלל רשע על תאוות נפשו בוצע בערך ניאץ השם. He could have brought just what it is to live with bitachon, but he brings the opposite. And this, I think, is very powerful because it really helps us understand where we want to situate ourselves. He says, conversely, a person who does not rely on God praises and glorifies himself for the good that befalls him. So anything that good happens to him, he says, wow, look how smart I was. Look how strong I am. I was able to do this. Look how intelligent, how wise, how gifted, how talented, right? And he brings in a psalm, for the wicked man boasts about the desire of his soul, and the robber congratulates himself for having blasphemed the Lord. Again, it's different ways that people who don't believe in God act. Okay, very important, because sometimes we're not aware that we don't have bitachon. Everyone can have emunah. Emunah is something easy to have. I believe in God, but bitachon only comes with work. How do you know you have true bitachon? Are you boasting about all your strength and creativity and successes in life? Are you boasting about all your desires that you're able to fulfill and your dreams? People who share their dreams and how they accomplished their dreams, Instagram is full of those. Or are you really aware that it comes from God? Those same people, what happens? ומסקצף באלוקים על הרע כמו שנאמר והיה כי יראה והסקצף וקילל במלכו ובאלוקיו ופנה למעלה. Suddenly, when things don't work, he is angry at God for the bad that befalls him. As it says, and it shall come to pass that when he is hungry and angry, he shall curse his king and his God and look upward. Right? This person, when he's successful, it's all about him. He's the one who brought the success. He's the one who was strong and wise and smart. He was the one who was creative and talented and gifted. But suddenly when things don't go his way, suddenly he becomes angry and he looks up to God and he curses God. Why did you do this to me? This is someone who lives without bitachon. And if you want to be that person, or if you don't want to be that person, then work on your bitachon, because you don't want to resemble someone who's so hypocritical, who praises himself when things go well and suddenly is angry with God when things don't go well. So this is the first way a person who has bitachon or a person who doesn't have bitachon lives with, how they live life. Okay, second, והשני, כי הבוטח באלוקים נפשו במנוחה וליבו שלב מצד הגזרות לדעתו, כי הבורא ינהיגן לטובתו בעולמו ואחריתו. The second difference is when a person relies on God, his soul and heart. Remember, he mentions, every word he mentions is not a coincidence. He says his soul and heart are at ease with respect to all of God's decree, due to his knowledge that the Creator directs them for his good, both in this world and in the world to come. Okay? So he says that a person who has bitachon, his soul, not only his heart, but his soul is at ease, is calm, is peaceful. And with respect to all of God's decrees, why does it say to all of God's decree? Why does his heart have to be peaceful with God's decrees? What is a decree?
Both good and bad.
It's something that he did. He's a bad sword that he's giving you for something bad that you've made done.
Yeah, so usually a decree is negative. And why does he use decree over here? Because and this again I heard from somebody else who was explained, but it kind of came. It's funny because I learned the class in the book, and then I tried to listen to another person teaching it, who brings sources, and he couldn't understand why he brought decree. And for me, it was kind of clear. What is a decree? You know, people can read decrees in the stars, right? They can see decrees, the mazal of people. It's something that's beyond your control.
It's negative.
Decree is usually negative, and it's beyond your control. If it's something that you did, right? You made a mistake in your business, or you made a mistake, or you're not eating healthy, or you're not, and because you're not eating healthy, you're sick, or you made a mistake and you lost money, you blame yourself.
Yeah.
You're upset at yourself. But a decree is something that comes that's out of your control. And because it's out of your control, it's very hard. It's even harder not to be anxious. Not to be anxious in catastrophe naturelle. A decree is anything that happens bad, befalls upon a community. You know, when something bad happens to the Jewish community, someone gets sick from nowhere, you know, that's a decree. Those are decrees. Those are things that you cannot control. No matter what you do, you cannot control. So to tell someone not to be anxious from a decree is a very hard thing.
For sure.
Because you cannot control, you can't do anything about it. It's out of your control. So he said, when a person relies on God, someone who has a bitachon, his soul and his heart are at peace even with a decree. With a decree that's out of your control, that you cannot do anything about. Nothing about it. In a way, when you can do something about it, it's less scary. But when it's something you can't do, it's the scariest feeling. Scariest feeling. And in a way, bitachon is a gift. It helps you have that peace in your soul and in your heart.
But
you have peace.
You say that even in this bad
situation. So it says, due to his knowledge, what helps bring this peace? His knowledge that the Creator directs them for his good, both in this world and in the world to come.
Okay.
So how can you get that peace? What does bitachon do? Bitachon is a knowledge. Your knowledge is so strong. You believe so strongly that God, if he brought this decree, is for the good, for the better, in this world and in the world to come. There's a really sad news that I heard yesterday that happened. A young girl, I know her family, I know her grandmother. She's 23, she was pregnant, healthy, everything was good. And this Friday night, she just didn't feel well, so they rushed her to the hospital and they lost her. And the baby was 33 weeks, and they birthed the baby the next day, and now he's in critical condition. He's in ICU, but he's alive, which is a miracle.
Here in Montreal?
The grandmother lives in Montreal, but she doesn't live in. And I was like, that is a decree, like out of nowhere. This beautiful family.
How old was she?
23. This is a decree. How is the family living with this? They're shocked. The sisters shared, like, they're shocked. It was out of nowhere. She was healthy and young. She just got married a year ago. This is a decree. How can you live with news like this if you don't have bitachon? You're destroyed. The poor husband, he's left with a baby in the ICU. The family, she was celebrating Shavuot with her family. This is a decree, and bitachon helps us be able, and this obviously, you know, something very powerful is that when a person dies, the Torah tells that a person who's mourning is not responsible to do Torah and mitzvot. Don't ask him to do Torah and mitzvot. Yes, when a person passes away, he's mourning, like he's not chayav. Chayav means he's not obligated to do Torah and mitzvot. Why? Because a person in mourning cannot connect to God when you're angry, when you're hurt, don't expect him. And I think that the sensitivity, the Torah understands the humanness. There is a human part of us, and we need to be able, when something happens, sometimes it's not death, when something happens that's hard, that's a decree, we need that period of mourning. And don't try to don't tell yourself, oh, God, it's all good. But after that time, after that period of mourning, that's when you work on your bitachon, and you tell yourself, wait, if this happened, this is for the good. While it's happening, be angry, mourn, disconnect. Don't try to numb it with everything's good, because it's not truth. Torah acknowledges that we're human and that we need that time of mourning. Mourning is very important in Torah, and it's given because we need that time. But how do we live after? How do we live after? Should we be angry our whole life? You know, there's people who are angry their whole life, and it's okay. We can't judge them. We can't judge them. But if we as people want to be people of bitachon and be people who are growing in our faith, we have to know that we have to let go of the anger and trust that it's for the good, even the decree. And this is going to bring us peaceful, because a person who's angry will not be peaceful in his heart and in his soul. Yes.
Is it true that a decree could never be removed?
A decree could be removed. There's many stories of people who did huge prayers and different
only
things.
Very high tzaddiks could
No. It sometimes it comes from the lowest. There's lots of stories of people who removed decrees. There was if you want, I can share a story right now. Yeah. There's a story of a boy who was, when he was young, his parents passed away, and a farmer, non-Jewish farmer, found him and took him in, and he forgot all about his Judaism and everything. And when he grew up just, taking care of sheep and roost and everything, and hearing the animals and taking care of the animals. And when he was older,
Saturday night,
the farmer sent him
Sunday morning.
What?
Oh, sorry.
When he grew up, like when he was in his teenager, the farmer sent him to the city to sell fruits and vegetables. And when he was there, he sees Jewish people, and suddenly memories come back. Wow. And so he's finished selling, and he follows them, like he sees them all walking somewhere, and it was actually Yom Kippur. I think it was Yom Kippur. He follows them, and he goes into the synagogue, and memories come back of his childhood. And he sees them all praying from the Siddur, but he doesn't know how to pray. And he opens, and and his heart is crying, and he wants to pray so badly. And anyways, they leave, so he leaves, and the next day he's still at the farm, and he goes back to the synagogue. And his soul wants to pray so badly, and the only sound he knows how to make is the sound of the rooster. So he calls out the sound of the rooster, and everyone looks at him, and they start kicking him out. And the rabbi says, stop. They stop him, and he says, let him in. And after Yom Kippur, he said there was actually a decree for the Jewish people, really bad decree, and I was praying and trying to get rid of it. And his sound of the rooster was so pure, came from the heart, that broke this decree, and now the decree is annulled. So yes, decrees can be annulled, and it doesn't have to be from a tzaddik. It has to be from the purity of a person's heart, the purity of anybody who truly wants to connect to God. So that's not what we were talking about. Let's focus on what we're talking about, is the difference between someone who lives with bitachon versus someone who doesn't. Someone who lives with bitachon, when there's a decree, he's at peace. He has this peacefulness, because think of friendship. Okay, it says bitachon comes from the word tach. Bitachon, tach, means tar. Tar is, or not tar, plaster. Is it plaster? Wait, what did they say over here? Bitachon comes from the word plaster.
Oh, yeah?
You know what plaster is?
Yeah.
Plaster
I don't
connects. No.
Oh,
Plaster
c'est quoi,
is. Who knows? Tu sais c'est quoi plaster?
C'est une sorte de pansement.
Comme du ciment, là.
Non, du ciment.
C'est comme...
Ciment.
C'est du ciment, oui.
Ah.
Ciment.
When you have a plaster, tu as un pansement.
Ah.
Oui, oui, ça.
Non,
Non.
pas un pansement. Ben, c'est genre, tu as un pansement pour le mur, genre.
Yeah,
un-
you fix wall
C'est comme
with
la-
plaster.
I call it a plaster, yeah.
Band-aid.
la-
Oh, yeah?
Non, non,
Yeah.
ça c'est une.
C'est la marque.
C'est la marque.
Ouais, ma
Ah,
fille,
I
elle
don't know.
demande des plaster. Pas ma fille, parce qu'elle est pas anglophone, mais genre, tout le monde demande des plasters.
I
Je-
never
je
heard.
sais
Plaster is anything. Well, you know what? It's the same concept. It's things that connects, that sticks you together, that connects. Right? You fix a wall. You fix a boo boo, whatever it is.
Okay.
Plaster connects, just like friendship and just like bitachon. A friend. You hope that a true friend will never have negative intention, will always do whatever it is for their good. So if you think about it, your God is your God. Hashem is like the utmost best friend that anyone can wish for. So when something happens, if you trust in him, you know that no matter what, he has the best interest for you. You know that he's doing what is best for you. Of course, in this situation, it's very hard to understand that. But he has, if you trust in him, you know, and if you have a good friend, just think of your good friend or of someone who you trust, who you have a relationship you trust. You know that they have, you hope, they have your best interest. What breaks people apart is when you realize that they don't.
Friendship is
You know?
the opposite.
But that's what true friendship is. When you think of God as your ultimate best friend, when something bad happens, if you trust in him, you'll know. Okay, you'll be upset in the beginning, you'll be hurt. But you'll realize in the end that really it was for your best. It was for your best. It brought out the best, you know?
Even if it's not in this world, it's going to be in the world.
And even
to
if you
come.
don't see in this world, yes, hopefully. And honestly, someone who, you know, who went through death and who was angry with God, I won't, you know, I won't wish that upon anyone, I don't think. But today I see and my family says it too, we're the best people we can be because of what we went through, you know. And it's something hard. I'm only saying it because I went through that. I would never tell someone that, and I don't want that to happen to anyone. No one I don't understand why we had to go through this to become a better version of ourselves. But it's something that I could say today a little bit. See that if I care so much about people, if I have the view, if I made choices, every choice in my life was driven because of what I went through, because I've seen death when I was young. And what's my point? My point is that yes, you couldn't find some good even in the worst situation. Of course, again, you know, when it comes to the Holocaust and all those huge things, like I cannot understand and I don't want to understand. But this is, and this is something very personal that I would share. I don't know anything. I would never talk for anybody else. But I'm sharing this because I do believe a person can come to that conclusion of trusting God to the point that you believe that, it is a very, very long process. But I believe that anger in your heart is not healthy. It's not healthy.
True.
It's not healthy to live with anger. So maybe you don't have to find the good, but at least trust him. Say, God, I don't like what you did, but I trust that. And sometimes I do have those days where, you know.
Because you have no choice than to accept it. Or you live with or without. Mais quand tu l'acceptes, ça va mieux.
Exactly. And the worst is that people Vanessa, okay. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Never too late. Never too late.
Hi, Shabaka.
And the worst is that people who don't have bitachon, they know how to feel good about themselves when they're successful. But the minute things go wrong, instead of blaming themselves, they blame everyone. Not even only God. They blame everyone but themselves. And this is someone who lives without proper bitachon, and it's ugly, and it's something that we should be aware of, conscious. Again, when he brings the two contrasts is to make us realize, where do we stand? If we didn't have the contrast, we wouldn't be aware of where we're standing. Because sometimes we can be that person. We can be super proud of our success and our strength and what we did or what our accomplishment. And then the minute we lose it or we don't have it, suddenly we blame others or we blame God or we're angry at whatever it is. So we have to have that awareness. I think it's very, very important to have that awareness in order to have proper bitachon. And he brings in the pasuk of King David, Kemo she'amar David alav hashalom, ach le'elokim domi nafshi ki mimenu tikvasi. Only to God should you hope my soul, for my hope is from him. That God, he was surrounded by enemies. David HaMelech said this when he was surrounded by enemies, and he said that he was, by saying those words, he was strengthening, the explanation says he was strengthening his bitachon, that even if I'm surrounded by enemies, the only thing that I should hope for is for Hashem, is to connect to Hashem. I'm not worried about anyone. I want to stop here and I want to bring in something very interesting that I heard. There are two mishnayot, two pasuk in the Torah that talks about being happy in every situation, right? We're talking about how you can have bitachon and see positivity even in negative situation. So there's one that says, where is it? There's one, Kol mash de avid rachmana letav avid. Anything bad that happened, in the end, will result for the good. And this was said by Rabbi Akiva. And there's another pasuk that said, Gam zu letova. That this is also good. And the Rebbe gave a whole sikha on those two pasukim. And he said there's a big difference between those two. One, first of all, is in Aramaic. Kol ma de avid rachmana letav avid is in Aramaic, so it's not clear. It represents when things are so not clear in Galut. The other one is short and is in sweet and in Hebrew, and it's very powerful. Gam zu letova. This is also good. What's the story behind there? Rabbi Akiva was once traveling to a city, and he stopped by and he wanted to sleep for the night, and they did not. No one. He went from door to door. No one wanted to have him. And so he ended up in the forest. Now when he was traveling, he traveled with a donkey to carry his belonging. He traveled with a rooster to wake him up in the middle of the night because he would wake up early to study Torah. And he traveled with a candle, and I don't know how they lit their fire. What happened? First of all, he has nowhere to sleep. So now he's kicked in the forest. He starts learning Torah. The wind comes, blows out his candle. He has nothing else to light the candle with. And he said, Gam kol ma David rachmana letav avid. Even if this is painful, right now it's bad, it's for the good. And then a wild cat comes, eat his donkey. And then a smaller cat comes and eat his rooster. And every time he said that, in the end he wakes up and he hears that the whole city was attacked by robbers. That came through the forest and killed out the whole city, no survivors. And he realized that even if that whole night he was miserable and he had a horrible night, and he was saved. So the result was good. Go to the story of Nachum Ish Gamzu, who said Gamzu letova. He was sent on a mission to go to the Sultan to annul a decree, actually. There was a decree that the Sultan gave to kill the Jews, or to I'm not sure what was the decree, I forgot. And he brought a box of treasure, and in lots of gold that the Jews gave to give him so that he's nicer with the Jews. And on his way, he stopped by an inn, and there's non-Jews who, the head of the inn found out he was holding a treasure, stole it, and filled it up with sand. And when he came, the king opened the box and he saw sand. And instead of saying that this situation is bad, he said, Gamzu letova. He was so positive that this is also good. And what ended up happening, there was Eliyahu Navi who was dressed up as one of his advisor. He said, no, this is the sand of Avram Avinu. If you take the sand and you throw it, it becomes arrows. So he asked and he threw it, and guess what? It became arrows. What is the difference between those two? One is Rabbi Akiva had a hard night. His negative was there, but only because he was positive, the outcome was positive. But Nachum Ish Gamzu, the actual negative became good. This is a much higher, much clearer, much stronger way of having bitachon. It's that the negative itself becomes the good. That the sand that brought him, he was supposed to be killed. How dare you bring me sand? But this sand brought him his own rescue, because they used it for war. It became arrows. That his bitachon was so good that God performed that miracle for him, that the sand turned into arrows. The sand became, that the actual bad became good. So these are two levels of bitachon. Are you able to say, you know what, this is bad, I went through so much pain, this is bad, but I know on the long run there's some good? Or are you able to say, no, even the bad is actually good? This is a much higher, much different level, and that obviously we hope to aspire to, but it's important to know what to aspire to in order to have proper bitachon. So with that, I will stop the class. You guys can ask your questions.